Hello there. If you're hearing my voice right now, it's not a coincidence. It's not the algorithm. It's because something inside you is ready to remember that you were never born to just get by. You were never meant to stay silent when your soul is trying to speak and reach for the light. And if you've ever felt like something bigger is coming, but you couldn't quite name it, then I'm here to remind you of one simple truth. Your millionaire moment is beginning, because before any destiny arrives, before any number reveals itself, there's always one thing that awakens first: the fire inside you. Aries, I'm not calling you by the name of a zodiac sign. I'm calling out to a soul, a living flame, a will that doesn't flinch in the dark. You don't wait. You've never sat still hoping fate would smile your way. You've always known greatness doesn't belong to the cautious. It belongs to those brave enough to walk through their own fire. I don't need poetic words to reach you, because I know you don't need soft sentences to be comforted. You are a soul that refuses to be dimmed. You were born to break the mold the world tried to force upon you, and then rise. With your hands, your heart, and the fire in your chest, how many times have you asked yourself, is there anything more waiting for me? Beyond the tired cycles of effort and exhaustion, behind all the invisible labor, is there a reward? Let me tell you something, not as a teacher, but as someone who once stood at the crossroads between burnout and hope. Yes, there is, but what you've been searching for might just be searching for you. Have you ever considered that the very thing you've been chasing for years has always been within reach? Maybe you just weren't still enough to see it. Maybe you weren't open enough to receive it. Not everyone has the courage to believe in what they can't yet see, but you're different. You don't wait for perfect signs. You act when your heart speaks. You follow that inner call, even when others call it crazy. There's a wave building in the universe. I can feel it, a warm current like the breath of life itself, shifting, moving, preparing to surge in your direction. It's not loud, not dramatic. It's like a rising tide in the middle of the night. Quiet, powerful, and unstoppable. Some call it luck, others call it divine timing, but I call it alignment. It's that sacred moment when a tired but relentless heart meets the exact point in time the universe decides, it's your turn now. But let's be clear, the kind of wealth I'm talking about isn't a lottery ticket falling into your lap. It's not about luck, it's about you living truthfully, holding fast to a dream that was planted in your soul lifetimes ago, refusing to settle for what's convenient, refusing to kneel before doubt. Wealth isn't just a number in your account, it's a state of being, when you no longer fear lack, when you walk forward knowing the ground will rise to meet you, when you stop asking, am I worthy, and start smiling, saying, I'm ready to receive. You've lived for years like you were borrowing this body, just surviving to please someone else, just trying to be enough. But you weren't born to be enough, you were born to exceed. And maybe right now you're starting to feel something shifting inside, a strange sensation like a door opening somewhere in the space around you. Soft, silent, but undeniable. I'm not here to paint you a perfect picture. I'm here to bring you back to yourself, to the fire that once dimmed beneath tears, to the pure, bold voice inside you that never truly went silent, to the place within where you remember you were never made to live small. And if it feels like the air around you is different lately, if something in you senses a presence just beyond the veil, you're right. Something is coming. A signal, a message, meant just for you. But it won't show up in a dream. It won't be written in prophecy. It will arrive in a form you didn't expect. And if your heart is open enough to receive it, if your eyes can look beyond the visible, you'll see. The universe is sending you something. A code, a message, a key. And sometimes that key comes in the most unexpected shape, something that seems ordinary, yet carries ancient energy, a call that echoes from the depth of your soul, one you've heard before, long before this life, a sequence of numbers, a code waiting for you. But before those numbers reach your hands, there's one thing you need to understand, a truth that only the ready can feel. The universe never delivers something this big unless the one receiving it is ready to hold it. And these numbers, they're not data, they're not a trick, they're a frequency, a vibration, a whisper from the cosmos to the soul that's just been called by name. We'll step into that moment with the very next breath. We often see numbers as lifeless symbols, something used to count, to measure, to define the value of a thing. But some numbers don't belong to math, they belong to frequency. And frequency is the language of the universe. In the physical world, you see numbers on receipts, on clocks, on your phone screen. But sometimes they show up at just the right moment in just the right place, like a gentle tap on the shoulder from the invisible, a message hidden in the rhythm of synchronicity, a signal sent from a mind far greater than human logic. You might call it coincidence. I call it an appointment made long ago by a stream of intelligence far wiser than you think. You didn't stumble upon these numbers. They didn't appear just to spark your curiosity and be forgotten. They are codes, keys, silent spells sent by the universe to those who are ready to step into the next chapter. But let me be honest, not everyone can see them, and not everyone can handle the energy they activate. Have you noticed? Sometimes during the day you glance at the clock, 11, 11. You see repeating numbers on license plates. You open a song and the view count is an eerie sequence. And in that moment the air shifts. You feel it like someone just whispered in your ear. Yes, this is the time. That's not random. Nothing in this universe is random. Every event, every moment, every number that appears belongs to a web of meaning woven from a million pulses. When you start seeing the same numbers again and again, it means your energy has reached a new frequency. It means the doors are beginning to wait for you to touch them. You see, numbers don't choose watchers, they choose feelers. And you're not just watching, you're feeling. You feel that something is shifting, that something is brushing the dust off your intuition. You don't doubt like before. You're beginning to believe in the unseen, not because someone convinced you, but because you heard the calling echo from inside your chest. So let your heart speak now, not your logic, not your mind. Let your soul whisper this silent truth. I am ready to open the door and receive what's meant for me. Just one sentence, one moment, one line from the heart, and you'll be amazed. The universe will listen, not with ears, but with energy. Remember this. No gift will be given to a heart that still fears what it deserves. No door will open for a hand still trembling from past rejection. And no number can carry light if you're still holding on to the shadow of doubt. This isn't a game of belief. This is activation. You don't need to understand it all. You only need to feel it. And you do, don't you? You feel these words not in your mind, but in a forgotten memory, buried deep inside, a part of you that has always known. Every soul comes here with a code, a door, and a divine moment to open it. That moment isn't tomorrow, not when you have more money, more degrees, more time. That moment is when you are still enough, real enough, present enough. And if you're still here, still listening, still resonating, then maybe, just maybe, you've already reached the edge of that door. But let's be honest. The universe doesn't hand out keys carelessly. It watches you not through your eyes, but through the energy you carry. And it asks, are you steady enough to hold what will change your entire life? Are you strong enough to not drop your destiny when it hands you something heavier than gold? The power to create a new reality. Are you brave enough to cross the old threshold and live as the person you've always known you were meant to be? Because these numbers, they're not just guiding you to money, they're guiding you back to yourself. A version of you may have forgotten, but who never left. A version forged in silence, who waited patiently for you to grow, to be ready, to stop fearing your own light. And when that light begins to stir, every fire that was once buried will awaken. Every door that once stayed shut will slowly open to welcome the one who holds the code. Because from the moment you touch this energy, you're no longer who you used to be. You're stepping into a phase that isn't just transformation, it's confirmation that you've been prepared to receive something not just big, but sacred. And now, here's what you must understand. Not all flames are meant to burn things down. Some flames are born to lead the way, and the flame within you is about to become the torch that lights your turning point. A turning point that's been simmering for years in pain, in solitude, in silent, unseen strength. We'll talk about that. Right when you're ready to face the very power you once tried to deny. There are doors in life that no key can open. They only unlock when you've grown through the pain of falling, when your eyes have seen the very bottom of your own sorrow, but still you didn't give up. Have you ever been there? In that place where the light dies in your chest, where you sit alone in the dark, not because no one's around, but because no one truly knows what you're battling inside. I believe you have, and I also believe that exact place was the beginning of something new. No one is born strong. Real strength is never given. It's forged. In tears and disappointment. In days when it felt like the sun would never rise again. You think your broken moments were failures. No, they were the furnace of your soul, the place where false versions of yourself were stripped away, where the mask of bravery fell off, and what remained was the rawest, truest version of you, exposed but not defeated. They say you're strong because you still smile, but they don't see the moments. You bite your lip to keep from crying at noon. They don't see the nights you can barely breathe because your heart's being crushed by a memory with no name. They don't see, and they don't need to, because you don't need them to understand. You only needed one thing, not to let go, and you didn't. You clung to hope like someone clinging to the edge of a cliff. You stood up again and again. So many times you lost count, but what matters isn't how many. What matters is you're still standing, you're still here, still breathing, still dreaming, still believing, even when that belief felt like ash in your hands. You know something. Not everyone survives the fire you walked through. Some never rise again. Some lose their faith. Some turn their hearts to stone. But you didn't turn to stone, you became fire. You turned pain into fuel, fuel into action, and from that action, you lit up your own path. People ask, what does success look like? My answer is, it doesn't have a shape, it has a frequency, a vibration. A light, and that light only appears when you've been hurt enough to understand others, forgiven enough to stop hating yourself, and humbled enough to realize you're still learning how to love. I don't know where you're hearing this from, in your car, lying in bed, or somewhere quiet in the middle of the afternoon. But I do know this, you're not hearing this by accident. Every word here, every breath, every pause exists because you've reached a moment where the universe is ready to hand you something bigger. Not just money, not just opportunity, but awareness. The awareness that every time you thought you were breaking, you were actually expanding. Every time you felt pain, you were learning to feel more deeply. Every time you were afraid, you were being asked to step beyond your limits. And every time you thought you were lost, you were actually being guided back home. So ask yourself, what moment in your life nearly broke you? But somehow you stood up, stronger, more real, more awake. Share that moment because someone out there needs to hear the story you're still carrying. Never underestimate your own pain because it could be the light that saves someone else. And you know what's beautiful? When you dare to tell your story, you're teaching the world a lesson no school ever could. You are the living proof of the extraordinary. You don't need to do something grand. Just be honest with your truth. Because sometimes, just knowing someone kept going is enough to help someone else not give up. And now that you've felt every drop of pain, now that you truly know your heart, now that you've stopped running from your shadows, this is the moment. Something is stirring deep inside, not by chance, not by luck, but by a sacred shift, a transformation, quiet but powerful. The fire inside you is no longer meant to destroy, it's meant to shine. It's no longer rage, it's inspiration. And now, that flame is about to become fuel, a fuel only you can access, a code only you can unlock, and in that exact moment, a spark is waiting, a tiny flame, but inside it lies the code for a powerful explosion. That spark is made of numbers, and no, they're not just lottery numbers, they are keys, they are gateways, they are the first knock to a chapter only you can open from within. There are moments in life when you don't need another piece of advice, you don't need another book, you don't need another round of applause from the outside world. You just need a sign, something small but clear like a light in the night, a message that arrives right on time, not too early so you don't miss it, not too late so you don't give up. And sometimes, that message comes in the form of a number, not because that number is lucky, not because it'll win you the lottery or help you escape hardship with some shortcut, but because it carries your frequency, the same one you were born with, the frequency of a soul that's been reborn more than once, the frequency of someone who's walked through fire and is now ready to walk into the light. Maybe you've seen them before somewhere in your life. Maybe you passed them by, not knowing you were passing by a key, but today you won't pass them by anymore. You'll pause, listen, feel, and look deeper into the meaning behind each number. Today the universe sends you a sequence, not random, not for fun, but so you can remember who you really are and where you're going next. The numbers are 8, 17, 3, 21, 6, 10. Take a deep breath. Let each number touch you, not through your mind, but through your heart. 8, the number of power, not power to control others, but power to master yourself. This is the frequency of expansion within and beyond, the energy of someone who knows their true worth and doesn't apologize for living big. 17, a promise fulfilled, a confirmation from the universe. What you've planted will bloom, even if you once doubted, even if you once felt lost. That promise, it's now coming closer. 3, the first spark of creation, a spiritual awakening, the energy of communication, of ideas blooming like springtime buds. You're no longer bound by the old rules. You're starting to create. 21, a complete ending, a victorious close to a chapter full of challenges, not an end to stop, but an end to rise on a higher ground. This is the harvest, after seasons of quiet planting. 6, balance with the heart. It invites you to decide not just with logic, but with love. You've learned to love yourself unconditionally. And when you love from the deepest place, you're no longer pulled by fear or need. 10, rebirth. A full circle closes, and a new chapter opens. Pure, powerful, divine. You're not just entering a new phase, you're becoming the version of yourself you once dreamed of but never dared to live fully. Can you feel it? Not with your ears, not with your eyes, but by how your body quietly paused as each number passed through you. They're not just symbols, they are whispers from the universe, coded just for you. Don't try to memorize them. Let them sink in. Write them down if you feel called to. Put them somewhere you can see every day, not to bring luck, but to help you remember. You don't need to attract abundance. You just need to align with it. You don't need to prove you're worthy. You only need to live as someone who's ready to receive, because money doesn't come from the mind. It flows from the energy you live in. Money doesn't rush to the smartest planner. It moves toward the clearest energy. When you're at peace, money arrives uninvited. When you're confident, opportunities find your door. When you're true to yourself, the universe has no reason to delay the reward you deserve. And today, you didn't just hear a list of numbers. You received your code, a sacred code that only works for someone who's ready. And you are ready, because these numbers are not for dreamers. They are for those who have remembered a simple, profound truth. I am worthy. And when you truly believe that, not just as a thought, but as a vibration in every cell of your body, then what you're about to hear next won't just be more content. It will be a mirror reflecting back the freest, wealthiest, most powerful version of yourself that you've always carried deep inside. There's a truth that not everyone is ready to accept. Wealth, true wealth, doesn't come from luck. It's not about lucky numbers, beautiful cards, or a captivating prophecy. At its deepest level, wealth is an inner power. It's a state of the soul that finally allows itself to receive what has always belonged to it. No rain ever falls on barren land unless the earth opens up to receive it. No light ever enters a dark room if you don't dare reach for the handle and open the door. What you're stepping into now is not luck, it's permission. Permission to live beyond your fears. Permission to take off that old shirt that says just enough. Permission to stop shrinking into the limits others drew around you. Most of all, permission to be happy without guilt. There were moments you wondered, if I have too much, will someone else have less? If I succeed, will others resent me? If I live up to my true potential, will I be misunderstood? That isn't humility, that's the inheritance of a world that told you wanting more makes you selfish. But today, I invite you to see it differently. You're not selfish for wanting more. You are sacred for daring to live larger, for daring to dream of a life that's more spacious. Not just for you, but for the people you love, because when you're abundant, you have time to truly listen to others. You have space to hold them when they fall. You have resources to give without hesitation. You have the freedom to live by your values, not by the price of electricity, the cost of milk, or your monthly paycheck. Just imagine. One morning you wake up, and the tightness in your chest is gone. You're no longer counting every dollar, no longer asking, will I have enough? Instead, you greet the day with a gentle smile, a warm cup of coffee in hand, sunlight slipping through the curtains, and the steady, quiet knowing, I'm living a real life, not better than others, just better than the version of me from yesterday. And do you know the most beautiful part? When you live in true prosperity, you don't keep it to yourself. You overflow, you inspire, you uplift. You become a small light, guiding those still wandering in the dark. That is real wealth. Not something you hoard, but something that flows and returns and flows again like a fresh spring. It doesn't run dry when it's shared. It grows fuller every time it's given. You've lived through enough seasons of scarcity, enough years of playing small. Now it's time to step out. No more asking for permission to live wide. No more bowing your head to be accepted. No more shrinking your dream. just to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. And if anyone ever made you feel small for having big dreams, remember this: they were simply showing you how much the world needs people who dare to live out loud so others may do the same. Right now, you hold a sacred code, not to change your life in one night, but to change how you walk step by step through ordinary days with the energy of someone who knows they are worthy. Money will come, freedom will come, abundance will come, not because you're chasing it, but because you're living as if it's already here, and the universe, like a great mirror, will simply reflect back the state of your heart. So pause, place your hand on your chest, and whisper gently, "I am worthy," because wealth isn't something you chase, it's something that finds you when you finally remember you are the light. And when that light awakens, what follows is no longer a dream. It's living proof. You were ready to receive it. Do you realize this? Throughout this entire journey, the numbers were never the main story. They were never the destination. They were only the mirror, a sacred mirror the universe placed in front of you. Not so you could see the future, but so you could see yourself. And maybe for the first time in years, you looked deeply into it, and you saw something. You saw that you've grown beyond your pain, that you've outgrown your old limits, that your soul, once trembling, now stands tall. You're no longer who you used to be. You're no longer the one asking for permission to dream, no longer walking softly, speaking quietly, just because your light might blind someone else. You've changed. Not because of the numbers, but because you dared to believe that you deserve more. You don't need permission to live abundantly. There is nothing wrong with wanting more for your life. No one loses when you rise in prosperity. In fact, the world needs you to step into your full power, so others can find the courage to do the same. You're not guilty for receiving. You've given so many times, without asking for anything back. You've shown kindness when your heart was empty. You lifted others even when you were barely holding yourself up. So when the reward comes to your door, don't turn away. Welcome it. As someone who knows they have lived enough, grown enough, and loved enough to hold it with both gratitude and grace. You're not betraying anyone by living your destiny. You're simply returning to the most authentic part of yourself, the part that was once buried beneath criticism, beneath the fear of being misunderstood, beneath the quiet whispers of a world that told you to tone it down. But you weren't born to tone it down. You were born to shine, in your own way, not loud, not flashy, just radiant, because you are you. And if someone out there is watching you right now, listening to this story and wondering, am I allowed to shine like that too? Then the answer lies in you, in how you rise, in how you receive, in how you dare to become the flame that lights the way. So if what I just shared stirred something deep inside you, if a memory awakened, a tear fell, or if your heart just fell silent for a moment, let that be. Let it breathe. And if you're willing, leave a message, share a story, speak your truth in the comments below. It doesn't have to be long, just honest, because somewhere out there, someone might be on the verge of giving up, and your fire could be what makes them want to live again. Thank you for making it this far, for listening, not just with your ears, but with your open heart. Thank you for walking this path of awakening, even when it hasn't been easy. Thank you for not giving up when everything tried to convince you to. Thank you for keeping the flame inside you alive, even through all the storms. May prosperity come to you as gently as breath, as naturally as morning light touching your skin. May your inner light always shine bright, not to stand out, but to guide you and those silently watching you from the shadows, because this world needs your fire so live, love, and burn brightly in the most beautiful way.